Good evening, everyone. In search of what would be the theme of this TED Talk, I knew right away what I was going to talk about. Art, obviously. But before I could start working on my presentation, I wanted to see what's out there. What's already written to advocate art? Only to find a ton of TED Talks talking about the same thing. So I don't want to waste your time. I can only talk about something that I have experience in. So first, I'd like for you to all close your eyes. Think of a time when a piece of art, be it a painting, a song, a dance, touched your soul, made your heart race, or even brought tears to your eyes. You see, art has an uncanny ability to resonate, to stir emotion, to challenge your very perceptions. Now imagine a world where every child, every individual has a chance to not only experience that magic, but to create it. Now open your eyes. I had to remember that because last time I told everybody to close their eyes, they closed their eyes throughout the entire speech. Today, I want to talk to you about a journey, my journey, that spans the corridors of bustling art galleries to the silent hallways of law firms, to refugee children, the hopeful eyes of refugee children looking for solace in art, but to also your everyday people, and especially myself. You see, I was born left-handed, and my parents and family worked very, very hard to shift me from my left to my right. Don't eat with your left, Lorna. Don't write with your left. Now, you know culturally and traditionally, the left hand is known as the devil's hand. So, of course, in due time, I heard horror stories of the left hand being covered in chilies or even tied to your back so that you don't use it. So, of course, I was scared. And in due time, I successfully transitioned from my left to my right. But only when eating and writing. This hand still remains as my strong hand, especially in sports and anything that requires strength. I'm a lawyer by profession, but definitely an artist by passion. Growing up, I was deeply influenced by art from a very early age. It really illuminated my path to the very stage I stand on today. Now, not everybody is adept to art, and so not many people understand this path. From the very beginning, not just parents or family members, they don't really support this. You need to study something that's more, seems more important. Now, in a country like Tanzania, where the academic rigor primarily revolves around subjects such as chemistry, physics, mathematics, what happens to those kids who don't naturally excel in these subjects? What happens? They're usually sidelined, considered as less smart, or even inadequate. But I believe, if given a chance to make any choice in the matter, these children will be able to express themselves in ways that you cannot see the borders. So I believe in art education from the outset, from the very, very beginning. Now, I can only speak on my own personal experience, and I'd like to tell you a little bit more about that. So my primary schooling started in Dar es Salaam, here, at Olympia Primary School. I don't remember much art in this school. Then I moved to Dodoma to an international school. It is in this school that I first discovered art. Art was part of the curriculum, and it was in almost every subject. It is there that I first discovered art, and I excelled in art. Now, in this particular school, language, the English language is the written and spoken language used. And of course, coming from a local school, this was not something I was good at the time. But art was my favorite subject. Art spoke to me. I excelled in it. And it didn't, like, the teachers supporting me and pushing me on and cheering me on just made it even better. It was the only subject I remember being very creative, feeling confident, and being celebrated. After primary school, I went on to another school, which didn't have any art in the curriculum. So for 4 years, the little talent I had acquired was lost. And then I went on to do my A-levels in Kenya. This school had art in the curriculum. But unfortunately, I had missed 4 years, so I couldn't sit for the exam. Then after that, fast forward to college, I didn't have much say in the matter, let's just be honest. My father was very keen on me being a lawyer. And he convinced everyone to come and pitch for me to take this path. Of course, being daddy's girl, and my dad being my dad, he convinced me. So I went for it, but half-heartedly. I managed to go to college, and I remember before actually signing up for school, I did apply for a degree in journalism and a degree in law. But with much persistence, my father convinced me, and so I went ahead with it. I remember every year giving my father a call and telling him, I'm quitting. This was only during examination time. I would tell him, this is it, I'm done, I'm not doing this. And he would tell me, no, go on, you'll pass, don't worry. And I did. So 5 years of every year me saying I'm quitting, I finally graduated. But after graduation, I knew I didn't want to practice. I always felt like I wasn't studying to retain this valuable information. I always felt I was studying to retain just enough and then pour it out on the examination table the next day. But I graduated. But I knew that I didn't want to practice. I saw myself maybe in a career in international relations and diplomacy. And so I went on to do an advanced diploma in the same. Now, came back to Tanzania, and somewhere along the way, a friend of mine convinced me that let's open an art gallery. I was like, that's a brilliant idea. Let's make this foundation a beacon of hope for the artists. And so a few months later, Ujamaa Art Gallery was born. But for 3 years, it was my heart and soul. But again, so many buts. Ujamaa couldn't stand the tides of inexperience and in fact, financial constraints, so I had to close. It was a very sad closure. A dream deferred. And as Langston Hughes pondered, does a dream deferred dry up, or does it explode? Poof. The answer came from an unlikely place for me. A refugee camp called Nyarugusu. It's in this camp that I first saw the joy that art can bring. I worked with possibly children of 10 years of age, and through their expressions in their art, they showcased not only the effects of war, but hope. And this really, really impressed me and gave me a lot of joy. And so I was very proud. Now, fast forward 12 years later, 2023 to be exact, this year, I had the same honor to revisit the same camp. This time, I was working with children from the age of 13 to 26, much older youths. They were quite hesitant in the beginning. I could feel the hesitant strokes, but building into, confident expression of art. And I remember feeling, wait a minute, that was my epiphany. I remember feeling that this is it, this is the feeling. This is the feeling that I've been chasing all along. And at the time, I couldn't explain what that feeling was. But at the end, I felt it was the joy I saw, the joy I managed to give to someone else. This, to me, came as full circle, because for the first time, I felt the joy that I'd felt 12 years ago in the same camp, and I felt the same joy that art used to bring to me in the classroom at primary school. Fast forward to 2020, with it, the pandemic. The pandemic. I obviously caught the virus, and it really broke me. My law firm at the time, I had to close because I was facing an unyielding landlord and obviously uncertainties of the businesses everywhere. And so while I was sick, I started working on something. I had a vision. And this vision came into reality. While I was sick, I tried to find my purpose. I tried to figure out exactly what it is I was brought here on this earth to do. And so I spent that time assembling a team, a web developer from Spain, a graphic designer from Sri Lanka, friends who I see here today, family that really helped me work on this vision I had. And this vision is Rangi Gallery. Rangi Gallery today stands as a visual, a virtual, and physical space that brings in the community to ensure and encourage artists, any young artist, anybody who's interested in art, to work together, to create fostering creativity in one common space. Now, I know my journey brought me to this place. Not many people have had the chance to actually explore what their potential is. I am standing before you to urge you to support the children who love art, who want to pursue art, Don't make them feel like it's inadequate and that it's not important. Because at the end of the day, this is something they're born with. So I urge you, friends, family, teachers, just give these children a chance to find their path, to choose their path, to support the local artists, to build a better community that inspires from each other, that helps one another, supports one another to make a better tomorrow. I thank you very much.